friend of the program, ladies and gentlemen, Karl Ravech.
Yeah, Karl!
How's it going, Ravech?
Not as good as Ohtani, but things are good, I can tell you that. But not as good as Shohei.
Okay, let's talk about that. Because, you know, in a lot of sports, whenever the superstars perform well, the sport's going to do well. When the superstars play like shit, people are going to bury the sport. Feels like right now, with Paul Skenes, Shohei Ohtani, Soto, I believe, over there in New York,
Judge.
and Aaron Judge, they're all playing good ball. That moment last night, my God, showing up in a massive way, bottom of the ninth, this early into the season, I think it's going to keep people hooked. I think it's going to keep people interested. And that type of magic happening with this guy, it seems to be just like the way it goes with him. He's on pace to be the GOAT, Ravi. And how do you feel about the state of baseball with him leading the way?
Yeah, no, he is that. You know, I'm trying to think, given this is a sports show that talks about every sport, football, etc., there probably hasn't been a athlete who's more well-known globally, maybe since Tiger Woods, maybe Muhammad Ali, than this guy. I think you could make the case he's the biggest and most well-known athlete globally on the planet because, obviously, of what he does in Asia, and that's why the Dodgers invested in him. You got to remember a couple of things about him. This season alone, forget about pitching, etc., and his MVPs, he went to Japan. The expectations were off the charts. We just did the Dodgers Thursday to open the season, and one of the things that all the players were even astounded by and company was how big in that country he is. There is no comparison in this country to his popularity in that country. It doesn't exist. He goes over there, they win 2 games, he hits a homer. You have to understand, last night was Shohei Ohtani bobblehead night. So not only do they come out to get a bobblehead, they lined up beginning at 7, 8, 9 in the morning to get the Ohtani bobblehead. And then on his night, he walks up to the plate. And I swear, you talk to the players, you talk to the fans, he was expected to do what he did. The level of accountability is beyond recognition. It's Brady in a Super Bowl at his prime. It's Woods at a major at his prime. It's not a question of where. It's not a question of is he going to hit a homer. It's where's the ball going to go. That's the level of expectation and delivery we're talking about.
Okay, so Ravi, I appreciate you telling us all these things, and my respect for Shohei grows even more every time I learn something about him. I think not just popularity in Japan, he's babyface over there too. Like, he's loved by everybody. It's not just like known by everybody. It's beloved by everybody there, which is obviously impossible, and it's because he's been so good for America. For MLB, he's been amazing. For baseball, he's been amazing. And this is all happening while Mitsuhara almost derailed the entire thing. He seems to be a robot. Why do you think he is so locked in? Why do you think he's so unflappable? And is he just engineered to be the superstar that baseball has needed for some time?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how quickly the injuries and playing in Anaheim have derailed the Mike Trout train we were all on. But this right here that we're seeing is exactly the type of response the Dodgers were hoping for in Japan, let alone in Los Angeles. And for a bobblehead, I mean, seriously. Now, I assume if you're a smart company like the Dodgers are, you will then try to sell bobbleheads, but maybe there's an exclusivity to it. But look at how many people turned out to get a bobblehead doll of Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, he is that guy. I'll say this: when we walked into the clubhouse on Thursday at around 7 o'clock, so local time game 4 o'clock, we get there at 1 o'clock. Ohtani is sitting at his locker, and it's not as if his locker is separate from everybody else's. There's Freeman, locker next to his open. There's Betts, locker next to his. In baseball, when you've reached a certain status, you have a locker, a corner locker if you're guys like Ohtani and Betts, and then there's an entire locker next to yours empty. So he's got the locker next to his empty. We walk into the clubhouse, and this has become fairly common in baseball, guys. You walk in and they know the media is allowed in at a certain time, and they run. They hide like ants.
Hooty-hoo, yeah. Absolutely.
They hide.
Yeah.
Ohtani sits at his locker, and there was no boy in the plastic bubble, but nobody really approached him. but he sat at his locker alone and looking at film, studying. So remember Ivan Lendl when he played
of course.
tennis? And like he was a robot. That's how I looked at Ivan Lendl. Ohtani's got a great smile. I saw him squeeze Edman's muscle last night after Edman homered. There's a personality there. He does. He lights up a room with his magnetism, and then he lights up stadiums with his ability. He's absolutely different and gifted to a level. Again, you go to Babe Ruth. We may never have seen it. I can't wait to see him pitch, assuming they're going to say, yeah, we know you're on pace to hit, 70 homers and win a batting title and an MVP.
Bases.
But
steal 70 bases.
You do that too. They may not need him. I'm sure he is going to do that because he wants to. He's as unique a talent as I've ever seen, and obviously I've ever seen on a baseball field.
Lucky that we're in the era of it. Very, very pumped. I love this dude. Have since the very beginning of learning about him. And the Babe Ruth comparison is awesome because obviously pitch and hit.
Yeah.
And that swing just seemingly was a casual.
So smooth.
That was like a 7-iron almost, just like casual deep center field to walk off.
So how big are you, Pat? How big are you?
I'm 6'2".
Yeah. So yeah, I mean this guy is not Aaron Judge, but he's darn close. I mean, he fills out a uniform, and when you see him stand next to others, look at him. I mean,
he got a fat ass. That guy's got a huge ass. You're talking about.
I think Buck Showalter used to call that a high butt, and that was a quality of a player. If you got a high butt, you're going to be a good baseball player.
Yeah, in football, it's the same exact thing. Yeah, we're looking for explosivity, which is normally coming from the hind end, and it feels like his base is obviously spectacular. I think he's 6'4" or something like that. And,
6'4", 6'5", and about 2 feet, just muscle. 240, 230. He's just strong.
On all the things you just mentioned, Ty has a question.
Yeah, Ravi, when you take all that into consideration, the Dodgers, this start, obviously they haven't started this well since 1955 when they were in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They keep coming back in all these games. Their pitching depth is unbelievable. Are we is it almost expected that they're going to break the single season wins record this year?
Yeah, I think they will. I thought the Mariners, who won, the 116, 17 games, were the biggest disappointment in baseball because they never did anything in the postseason. I don't think there's any question this team passes that record, the 0-1 Mariners. I don't think there's any question about it. The only I don't, usually health can slow down a juggernaut like this. They are so deep. They could actually have a handful of guys go down. They could rest guys. Blake Snell was not good last night. He was complaining to the umpires. They're not beating the chicken crap of Major League Baseball. They just roll through the Atlanta Braves. I mean, think about the Braves going home now, having not won a game, and realize what the Dodgers do. Again, the Dodgers 3, 4, 5 starters. When you parade Glasnow out there against your number 3, or Blake Snell because the way you're number 4, it becomes so demoralizing. And that's what they do on a nightly basis. And the idea that they came from behind from 5-zip is just another indication. To his credit, Dave Roberts seems to have got this culture, and I think it's rooted in Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Max Muncy. They won the World Series. Their entire goal now is to do better than they did last year. And you guys know this, with sports and with champions, sometimes there's a hangover. No chance with this group. They want to win the day. And if you win the day, you could win every day, and they're obviously doing that right now.
162-0 would be awesome. Good luck out there.
That'd be pretty sweet. I can't wait. I'd love to cover that. Man, I love that.
Last question about the Dodgers here from Ty.
Yeah, Ravi, so you mentioned it, Shohei obviously wants to pitch. There's no two ways about that, but I'm kind of the train of thought, why would you pitch this guy? He's so good at the plate. That's the only thing that could really derail stuff is if he has another elbow injury or has another season-ending injury. I know you mentioned, how deep they are with the pitching staff. So if Snell or Glasnow or one of those guys goes down, maybe you slide him into the rotation. But do you think there's any thought that, like, hey, we're just going to have this guy focus on hitting because, again, he might win an MVP. He could hit 74 homers this year.
He'd win the MVP. There's no doubt about it. I think the dynamic between the Dodgers and Ohtani is unique. The Jordan rules existed with the Chicago Bulls. I don't think that the Ohtani rules exist with the Dodgers, but clearly a guy that's compensated the way he is with his talent is given certain liberties. And I think if he wants to pitch, which he does, they're going to afford him that opportunity. May not be as often as he'd like, but I think he really wants to do that. Again, if we're going to talk about how driven he is to be the best hitter on the planet, the best base runner on the planet, he wants to be the best pitcher on the planet, and I think they will afford him that opportunity. And again, you may forget like how darn good the guy was as a pitcher. Like, he's a great pitcher. This isn't adding a number 5.
Speaking of pitching, Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, he would have to be the second best pitcher in MLB behind Paul Skenes, who's the first pitcher since ERA was a stat to go 25 stats, go sub-2 ERA and have 175 plus strikeouts. Is Skenes the most dominant young pitcher you've ever seen? And if you guys, do you have the Pirates on the Sunday Night Baseball schedule this year, or can you not do that because you would have to just get lucky to get Skenes on his pitching day?
Yeah, I mean, the whole Sunday night thing, the pitching is luck. I mean, with the exception of Thursday, the literal opening day of the season, we are at the mercy of whatever pitcher is pitching. It's not like Monday Night Football where you're going to have the quarterback every Monday night. It doesn't work that way. NBA games don't work that way with guys getting rest. So that would be all luck if we got Skenes. Have I seen a dominant pitcher? I don't know. I got to know him at LSU. I was there for that World Series championship. Pat, you can speak to it. You've been around athletes, your entire life. There are guys who attempt to well, they get it, but they also work their ass off more than anybody else.
Yes.
Skenes did that. Ohtani does that. Mookie Betts does that, like in the baseball world. That's why people always wonder, like, why golfers, like why Tiger Woods, why Scotty Scheffler, do they tweak their swings? It's because they're not satisfied even with winning multiple majors and being the number 1 player on the planet. Skenes, Ohtani, Mookie Betts. To your question, was Dwight Gooden that great? Was Jacob deGrom that great as a young pitcher? Yeah, I'm not certain that there's anybody who's better than Skenes after 1 year and now 2. I think we'd be fooling ourselves the same way Ohtani has this global appeal. There's the right side of the picture with Paul Skenes, which also affects how people feel about him. And I saw the photo shoot that he and Livy did. So there's things that go along with these great performers. And I think a lot of people love everything about what Paul Skenes means. Yeah, there's the shot.
Also, Rue, Ravi. Have a little respect for the dog.
I would look. I'm all about Lou.
Rue.
I love Lou.
Rue with an R.
Lou looks good.
You're not Lavich. You're Ravich. Jeez Louise.
Oh, it's Rue like ROO.
Yeah, ROU. Jeez Louise.
Oh, like Baton Rouge. Okay, I get it.
I thought it was Hunger Games.
Operator, won't you put me on?
You know whose dog? I will say. You know whose dog's name is Rue? Is Rocket? They got a Rocket and a Rue. He just texted me. Is my buddy Jimmy Dykes? Those are his dog's name. Rocket and Rue, but
Legend.
But it's ROO.
Tell Jimmy Dykes I said hello. AJ has a question for you, Ravi.
Yeah, Ravi, speaking of pitchers, have you spoken to many of these pitchers around the major leagues and how pissed off they might be about these torpedo bats? Are they trying to come together and get these things banned? And what do you think the future looks like?
I grew up in Massachusetts.
Hell
we used
yeah.
to go to a thing called candlepin bowling. That right there is what we would try to. If you cut that off at the label, that would be 10 of those would be standing, and we would take a little bowling ball and try to knock them down.
Duck pin bowling.
Chain reaction.
Duck pin bowling.
No, not big ball. No, not big ball.
No. Duck pin.
It's called duck pin.
It's called duck pin, Ravi.
Duck pin.
Yeah. We got
candlepin. Candlepin, where I'm from, Massachusetts, Candlepin. They used to have Bob Gamere on Sunday every night. Candlepin bowling, and he would have bowling for dollars. It was great.
No chain reaction on that.
Shout out Rick Kenmore.
You could spin it up there and wipe those things out.
Okay, I bet you could too, Ravi. Obviously,
my brother was the bowler. Carl was not. Matt Ravech was the bowler.
Shout out to Matt.
Back to the question. I don't think they're not pissed off because look, the Yankees dealt with cold weather, and then all of a sudden they dealt with better pitchers, and the balls weren't flying. Although I think our guy Bregman hit a torpedo that home run today. Like, it makes a lot of sense. And golf has done this forever. If you could increase the size of the face of a golf club and allow you to miss the sweet spot, but technically be in the sweet spot, that's what that bat is. That's keeping you into the sweet spot for a lot longer. So hit one off that label, and there's just a lot more meat on the bone.
That's what PXG's doing.
Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Smart.
That is what Bob Parsons is.
Find it anywhere near the sweet spot, and that ball's just going to go on and 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 on.
Shout out to Parsons. Shout out to Parsons. Shout out to Matt Ravech as well. I assume he's from Massachusetts. Speaking of, Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Carl, let's talk about it. You are from Massachusetts. Shout out Needham. And the real reason baseball is back, and we can talk about the Al Gore inconvenient truth, is because the Boston Red Sox are back, and it seems
haven't said their name one time.
It seems like you just mentioned Bregman hitting a home run for the Boston Red Sox today with a torpedo bat. It was an absolute moonshot. Oh,
a lot of people there.
And who's it against? Yeah, it's at Baltimore, one of the best teams. Shitty market. You know what's not a shitty market? Boston. So now that Boston's back,
Boston can't move the needle in Baltimore. I know. Shohei comes to town. Fill it up.
You think
Paul Skenes comes to town. Fill it up.
Yeah, right. Not in poopy Baltimore. They'll
Baltimore's a great place.
Hey, guess where Sunday Night Baseball is?
Where?
Boston, not Baltimore, because Baltimore stinks.
No, Baltimore's a great place.
Baltimore isn't a great place. We don't have to play this game, okay?
Jimmy's Famous Seafood's over there. Great crab cakes.
Yeah, and that's a little bit outside the city, okay? That's not in Camden Park, whatever the hell it's called. But let's talk about it, Carl. The Boston Red Sox are back. You are headed there for Sunday Night Baseball this week against the St. Louis Cardinals. And actually, this is the first time I've actually paid attention to this graphic. Their Sox are on it, baby. Hold the phone. We are one of the top 5, top 10 favorites to win the World Series. Is it time for Boston, for myself, for the people of the city and New England to get back into baseball? Because even though people might not think Boston baseball town, because Boston's more of a title town, are the Sox back in it? Should we start paying attention, or should I be following the Red Sox all year?
Yeah, I know. I think you're on the bandwagon. Has got open doors, and people are piling on. I think the Braves were on that list as the second favorite, and they've lost their first 7 games. So, the Red Sox are a real deal this year, and they're spending money. I mean, the Red Sox were part of Title Town. It wasn't just the Celtics and the Bruins. The Red Sox had won those titles as well. The Red Sox were the biggest roller coaster in the world, winning championships and then finishing in last place. The Alex Bregman deal came out of nowhere, although I'll be honest with you, I had only thought Bregman was going to end up in Boston because of the wall out there, and that's a perfect pulled park for a guy like that. Not pulled pork, pulled park. That's a perfect park.
I had some pulled pork this morning, not bad.
Pretty good.
Pulled pork is also a good time, just like down in Tampa.
Disclosure.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pulled pork, push park in.
You bet. Yeah. All the above.
Good pork.
Baltimore's a great city. I'm a shellfish allergy guy, so I can't have crab cakes.
AJ?
We will be Saturday night in the North End. Saturday night, pre-Red Sox. No, but honestly, Garrett Crochet, terrific yesterday. Obviously, a long-term deal. Christian Campbell again. Don't quote me, but he has some of the mannerisms of a young Mookie Betts. He's got an electric bat. He's got
just hit a bomb today.
Did he just?
Oh yeah.
A long-term 8-year deal for Christian Campbell. You don't invest in players like that. And they let Mookie get away, which has turned out to be a disaster for the Red Sox.
Whoa. Let's talk about Campbell, okay? Let's talk about Campbell. We don't got.
You like Christian Campbell? Christian Campbell's special.
I've been saying that.
Okay, so
special.
We're wrapping up here on ESPN. We have a hard out coming in like a minute and a half. But you just mentioned something there that I don't know if you know that you can combat. You said you have a shellfish allergy, which normally has the ability to take people out. That thing swells up. You can't breathe. AJ had a shellfish allergy at one point in his life, actually. AJ, would you like to talk to Ravi about what he could potentially do so he could be at the hoity-toity events having shrimp cocktail?
Yeah, Ravi, sorry, I know we're up against a hard out, so I can't give you the whole plan. But if you let me know, I can help you through this. I once had a shellfish allergy as well, and through the course of about 5 to 6 years, I've come through the other side. I can have shellfish.
He microdosed himself. So he can.
Was it worth it? Is it worth it?
Probably not, to be honest with you. I don't really like it that much.
Yeah, but when he grabs
Quick story, I know you're up against it. I ordered chicken piccata once in Nashville, Tennessee. I thought they had little gnocchi in them. Turns out it was lump crab. Right to the hospital at Vanderbilt.
Almost dead? Does that thing...
Jeez, why are you laughing?
Lump crab.
You dog.
Chicken piccata.
Right to the hospital.
That happened to TJ Watt, right?
Thank God we had good... Yeah. The shellfish, the nut allergies, they can really... That's like, I have a daughter right now, and the first time having her have peanut was like...
Fingers crossed.
Here we go. Yeah. We could be going to the hospital for the next day here in this entirety.
EpiPen, baby. EpiPen it up.
Okay, you always have one of those on. You go to Jimmy's Famous, get yourself an EpiPen and a crab cake. It'll be worth it. We're going to continue digitally. We'll be back tomorrow here on ESPN. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Okay, we nailed it. Okay, Ravi. We're still live. YouTube, ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, and I think we're banned from TikTok Live.
Sure. Shoot.
I think there's a chance we're getting bombarded.
Okay.
There's a chance we're getting attacked.
That happens.
That's going to happen from time to time, especially with the way we, our lives have been going.
Right after the tariffs, I think we can assume who's doing it.
Liberation Day. Okay, Ravi, we saw the who's going to win graphic. It's the Dodgers. Yeah. It's the Dodgers. And we asked about the Pirates earlier. Pirates have any chance?
No.
Making it?
Aren't they up on that graphic?
Making what?
Making the
fourth
playoffs,
one down on the right?
No, that's Padres.
Oh. 500?
What team, I guess up there?
Finishing 162? Absolutely. They will do that.
Yes, Carl. Yes.
And Pat, I'm a Pittsburgh guy, but not in that league and not in that division.
Okay. All right. So
Reds are too strong.
Cincinnati Reds have it.
Yeah,
The Reds are good. The Reds are good.
Every year we're told the Reds are good.
They got Tito
Francona. Yeah, but every year before this, they didn't have Terry Francona. He's a difference maker.
Well, and then we got, anytime I see Herbie tweeting, I'm like, okay, the Reds are doing it.
Yeah, he's off the Blue Jackets wagon all of a sudden.
No, he's just not tweeting about it. He picks and chooses, keeps it positive.
We know Herbie loves baseball. He hit 700 in high school.
Legit. Yeah. He is a baseball guy.
Herbie loves baseball. He also loves SEC basketball. We got a very nice text from Kirk Herbstreit about SEC basketball coverage. Yeah, he's dialed into that.
Yeah, well, did you know his high school at Centerville, he's the all-time leader of homers? Did you know that?
Did not. I did know he's a baseball rat. I know that.
Like, I think he was actually a guy. Like, I think baseball was probably his
sport. He keeps the book. Doesn't he keep the book when he goes and watches a game as a spectator?
Probably. He's a stats guy?
Probably. That would be a Herbie move.
Dork.
It would be a Herbie move. Actually, you'd probably have Jake do it.
Yeah.
Jake, 2 strikes.
Or Peter.
E1 in the entire
game. Who was keeping the book the other night in L.A. at Dodger Stadium was Tom Hanks. He was all about the book, man.
A lot of stars out there I've seen. A lot of people coming.
A lot of stars.
Feel like baseball has momentum right now or no?
Oh, God, yeah. Baseball, because they fixed it with the pitch clock, the bigger bases, get some speed going.
Bigger bases?
I didn't know
this. Yeah.
They got a little bigger bases. I think that it's really interesting. You tell me what you think. Over the next couple of years, does NIL screw up college to the point where people get pissed about it and they're not going to follow it as much as they are? Because I keep hearing, and I do the SEC, so I'm on the right side of where it's going. They have great success, but so many colleges are going to be, and their fan base, sort of put off by the rich getting richer. Major League Baseball has some of that with the Dodgers, but still, we haven't had a repeat winner since the Yankees in 98, 99, and 2000. Is that a possibility that unless they fix this, they're going to alienate a large percentage of the global group?
Very interesting. I have not even thought about that for a potential benefit of baseball or other sports, maybe even NHL.
Major sports,
NHL, I think, is having a good time right now. And I think it's the product on the ice or the product on the field. And if stars are playing well, like for instance, in the NHL right now, Alexander Ovechkin is chasing a record that nobody thought would. Right. And you're talking about an all-time great, and their team's doing well. So that's great buzz. Last night I was watching, they had a camera on Ovi the entire time with stats underneath and who scored what. And it's like, that is a good promotion right now. We even got a thing sent to us from, I think the NHL or maybe the Capitals, where it's a countdown thing for how many goals until he breaks the record, and the great 8 thing. So
I love that.
I think that's that's good for the NHL because superstars are performing well on the ice. For baseball, superstars are performing well. I think that is what it takes. And if you prove to like the fan, like the casual fan like myself, if you prove that when I turn this on, something is going to happen. Like the people I know.
Especially out of the gate.
Bingo.
Especially out of the gate. That's why the Judge thing was so big. That's why Ohtani in Japan and then on Thursday night to open it is so big. You need that. And then you get the OV cam is the second best OV thing ever next to OV splits that you could get at the Brick Bar up in Buffalo. That was a big thing. A whole case of OV splits. I just had this conversation with somebody. Honest to God, I believe the Brick Bar just had a big fire. Seriously.
Oh, no.
I think the Brick Bar may have had a big fire, which wasn't good at all. But yeah, OV cam, OV splits.
Well, Ravi would like to help with the Brick Bar getting back on its feet. Obviously, if there's anything to do that, we appreciate you mentioning Brick Bar, which I did not know existed until now. But I'm also hoping that the Brick Bar comes back in a big way. On the note, though, of baseball having a moment here in superstars and popularity, there's a little bit of media news that broke a couple weeks ago. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, given all that, and again, I know you're not involved in this decision making and all, but what does that mean when baseball has all this momentum right now and then boom, all of a sudden ESPN is potentially going to lose baseball rights? Like, I'm one of those guys who grew up watching Baseball Tonight, and it is, if you're not watching a game, you're not really getting much coverage. I mean, now they're showing Ohtani and Judge and stuff like that, but like the day-to-day coverage of baseball isn't what it used to be. Do you think if ESPN does lose, rights to games and stuff like that, like how much can that potentially harm the MLB?
Well, I mean, that part of it, if you go to that conclusion, that's that's an unknown. I don't know that. I know that just being associated with it for so long and having hosted that show that you grew up watching and hearing all the time about Baseball Tonight, I have a hard time envisioning a world in which ESPN and Major League Baseball don't have a future. So as I've said before, I'm an optimist about that. I think there's a really good chance that we end up with baseball, and I've articulated the reasons for it. ESPN has a platform coming out that has every other sport on it, and baseball, I would think, would want to be part of that. If it's Noah's Ark and you're an animal and all the other animals are on it, you want to get on it too. True. You don't want to be left on an island.
So that's not over? I thought it was reported as if it's a done deal. You're saying that's not a done deal. That's what you say you're out.
Oh, no. They've opted out of it, but that doesn't mean they can't negotiate either side back into it. Nobody has yet, agreed to pick up the Sunday night deal package, if that exists in its current form next year, the home run derby, the wild card. Major League Baseball has a really good history of figuring out ways to get their product out there. This is a much bigger discussion about national versus regional, etc. I know that Jimmy Pitaro has said many times how much he wants to be involved with Major League Baseball. Where there's a will, there's a way. And is there going to be a way that we end up together? I think there is. We'll see. But what happens if it leaves ESPN? I don't know if the environment's different enough that when the NHL left, they weren't really heard from. Then they came back, and look at how popular the NHL is. That may not be applicable anymore. It may be very applicable. I don't know.
I'm intrigued because I'm getting into baseball for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
And we're covering baseball very early in the season here. We'll talk about baseball. We're talking about it every day here, Ravi. I don't know if you're seeing. We're talking baseball.
I reached out to you preseason. I said, let's go. Here we go. Game one. Let's start doing this. Let's do this weekly. Let's do this daily. I wanted to talk baseball on this platform. I want to talk baseball all the time.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you doing that, and I appreciate baseball being great to us thus far this season. Oh, yeah. Now, hey, you tell baseball as a whole, you give me 2-3 weeks of shit, I'm out. Okay? I can't do it. I can do 1 week of cold bats. Okay, I can do 1 week of cold bats. I can do, 2 starts in a row by Skenes where the Pirates just let them down. I can do 2 or 3 of those. But if we got a 3-4 week period where baseball is just, which doesn't feel like it's around the corner at all, but it'll lose my interest. Right now, it's like every night. there's something.
There's too many good players.
Something happened. Too many good teams, I think.
That too.
Yankees, Mets, obviously the Dodgers are doing their thing.
Padres.
The Red Sox are back in it.
Yeah.
Matt told me about that. Matt Ravech, I don't know if you know him.
Matty Pins, you
He's a
mean?
Good bowler. Yeah, great bowler.
Candlepin bowler.
Good sense of humor.
That guy was unbelievable
Matty
at this
Pins.
entire thing. He could fucking spin that thing and really do that. But I think baseball is like doing it. And for us, selfishly, like the Pirates have the guy, going for it's not Shohei, but it's like.
Yeah, the test is always going to be, Pat. The test is always going to be you go through the beginning of the year. You hope you have your stars perform. Will the big markets be in it, and for how long? What happens when your Pirates go into a slump? God forbid, Skenes or somebody like that get hurt. Where do you go? Where does your interest? Like the key is this is to pardon the stupid. Analogy. This is a marathon. It's a long season. So there's peaks and valleys. You hope that there's going to be enough superstars, big market teams, stories like Ovechkin. Maybe somebody goes and hits a homer 6, 7, 8 games in a row. So you glom on to different things, and you hope that baseball has the ability to take us through June, July, August, September, because then when you get to October, it's the best.
Shohei hits a walk-off last night. We don't even mention. Didn't a guy hit 3 home runs last night?
Yeah. Ivan Herrera, the catcher for the Cardinals, who no one is.
Cardinals put up a dozen, I think.
And he hit like all 3 of them into Big Mac land. They weren't like cheapies. Like he absolutely fucking blasted all 3 of them.
Yeah, didn't even talk about it because Shohei had a walk-off at 1 a.m. In the bottom of the 9th in our world. But it's like, guy hits 3 home runs in one night. Okay, I could tune into a home run derby.
No doubt.
I can watch. Yeah. I can watch that. I can also watch a pitcher slice and dice for an entire night. It's getting interesting. Baseball is getting very interesting.
And the Padres are
undefeated. Well, say this about the torpedo bats too, guys. Let's not discount what's going on in baseball.
Shut up, Tone.
The pitchers have had every single advantage the last, let's say, dozen years. Through analytics and metrics and all those cameras they got going. The hitters had nothing. So if a torpedo bat can help the hitters a little bit, it's better for the sport because we want runs. Baseball needs offense.
Yeah.
If the pitchers are going to slice and dice every night, that ain't going to work.
Every sport wants offense, including even UFC. Whenever people are just laying ground and pound, people don't get as excited. There was even a walk-off bunt last night.
Yeah.
Walk-off bunt last night. Good touch. Good touch with the barrel. We win the game. Let's go ahead and get the hell out of here. We did it at home. Walk-off bunt. Now we got another game tomorrow. Let's see if we can do it. That's the thing about baseball. You can enjoy these moments for about 4 hours, and then you're right on to the next one. A lot of magic happening early here. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was going to say, we haven't even mentioned the Padres are undefeated, and Jackson Merrill, who just got paid $135 million yesterday, hit a home run the day that he got paid $135 million. So
baseball.
Okay.
Baseball. Jackson Merrill's special. I'll tell you one thing. I would, you talk about Paul Skenes, who's young, the superstar pitcher for the Padres, and they have a lot of them. Just keep an eye on Michael King all year.
Fuck.
He was adequate in his first start. He punched out 11. I think gave up 2 hits in his second start. Keep your eye on Michael King.
I just learned from Ty that he was a Yankee, and then he was traded for Juan Soto, who is now a member
He was
of the
free
Mets.
agent after this year.
Yep.
Free agent after this season.
Back in the Bronx.
He could easily end up in the Bronx.
Yeah.
He's a Rhode Island kid. He could end up in Boston. He could end up in Baltimore.
Tell him.
He's going to Pittsburgh, brother.
he might be a Pirate.
No one's going
Join
to
the
Pittsburgh.
Hundo boys.
No one's going to
He and
Pittsburgh.
Skenes, he could back up Paul Skenes.
Yeah.
And Jared Jones, he had a hundo. Can this kid touch triple digits?
He's not throwing triple digits.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want him.
Well, that's
His
the thing
stuff
too
is,
because
he's got the best stuff in Major League Baseball.
I just saw a 99-mile-an-hour splinter yesterday. Okay, that they didn't know if it was a 4-seam fast. Ravi, let's relax.
he's very good. I don't know if he's going to accept like a 10-year, $45 million deal that the Pirates will
That's
offer
not
him.
what
You think we're going to give him $45 million? Yeah, right, brother.
At most.
With incentive base up to 22.
Reach to Boston.
All right, Ravi, we appreciate the hell out of you, buddy. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you guys. Have a good day.
Ladies and gentlemen, Karl Ravech.
Yeah, Ravi.